Carolyn. So, as we're hopping into the Create Right Now podcast, and we want to show our audience how can we market books in 2024? What is your secret to marketing a book successfully?
Well, for me, part of it is I have topics that everybody wants to know about, which makes it a little bit easier for me. And I discovered that in 2006 when my first book was published. Now, for most people, the secret to marketing is to actually just be out there and doing it. And and the thing is, a lot of people who are not indie authors like myself, and they're lucky enough to get a traditional publisher, don't realize that they still have to do a lot of the marketing themselves. And most authors aren't marketers.
Wait, most authors aren't marketers?
Yeah, they don't wear that. That's not a hat that's in their bailiwick. And I know that fiction writing is a whole nother animal to nonfiction writing. Because I write nonfiction, and then I started a publishing company that buys out of print books and updates and republishes them. And one of the books happened to be fiction.
Okay.
And it's a whole, like, you have to have a story arc, you have to have character development, you have to, that's not me. I won't say I'll never publish a nonfiction book, but I don't see it in my future. Because it's not easy. It's not an easy task. But one thing authors need to do is they actually need to have a marketing plan, just like any small business.
That is so true. I know, just like talking with hundreds of writers, a lot of new writers who are still working on their first book, there's that belief, exactly like what you said, that like, hey, I'm going to put my book out there. It's going to go self-publish it on Amazon, and the algorithm is going to do the work for me. No,
it does not. Okay. So, you know what? I just realized.
Okay.
I send Kauffman my presentation that I'm doing later, and I left out a huge point. And I just realized it right now. No, that's okay. Hello, the paid stuff. I was focusing on the free marketing because that's where most of our budgets lie.
I know most of us who are still working on putting together some of our first books over here. But speaking of that, Carolyn, that is an excellent start. So I actually want to take a second and welcome everyone to the Create Right Now podcast. Today, as you can see, I'm sitting down with Carolyn Wilman, a.k.a. the contest queen, with her business, Words for Winning. So we're going to be talking about successful book marketing strategies and things that you can do if you're trying to market your book, maybe on a budget, and then maybe paid marketing as well. We'll see how the conversation works out. I just want to welcome everyone to the stream. WTC, great to have you in here, my friend. Yes, you get the first cookie. Mike, welcome. Dang, I wanted that cookie, but I was too busy writing. Well, you know what? That is a good excuse to have. Welcome to the stream, my friends. If you're just joining us, don't worry. We actually have you covered, whether you're watching this on the live stream or the replay. At the end of the conversation, time codes are going to be added, so you can hop to the part of the stream that brings you the most value. So today, we're going to be having a dynamic discussion about how to market your book, whether you're a first-time unpublished author or whether you've published many, many books before. And let's see, if you want readers to buy your book, but you don't know what to do, join the discussion, join the conversation. I've invited Carolyn here because she's an expert. She just published her 10th book, and we are going to have a fun conversation. If you have questions, if you have thoughts about maybe you published a book, drop them in the comments. We would love to hear from you. And if you stick around throughout the podcast, Carolyn and myself will be doing a live reading of one of her novels, The Name It and Claim It Game by Helene Hadsell, and I hope I said that correctly, which was updated by Carolyn Wilman. And then after that, we're going to be doing a live giveaway workshop. So you're going to be able to join us and think about like, okay, so how do I what if I want to do a giveaway? Or what if I want to do a sweepstakes? We're going to be doing a special workshop to show you how you can win money. Carolyn has helped her audience. She has helped her community win over $1 million cumulatively over time with one of her programs. We're going to be hopping right into that. So with that being said, I want to bring Carolyn back to the stage. So author Carolyn Wilman founded her first company, Imagination Edge, in 1994 as a small business marketing consulting firm. In 2006, she launched The Contest Queen, the first contest resource that helped others win over $1 million in cash and prizes. In 2014, Carolyn launched Idea Majesty to help companies understand promotions from their customers' perspectives. Her efforts as a marketing expert landed her on the cover of Marketing Magazine in 2006 and a role in the premiere episode of High Stakes Sweepers in TLC in 2011. Destined to help others live out the potential, Carolyn began purchasing the rights from out-of-print mindset authors and reintroducing their books to a new audience with Words for Winning. Carolyn, welcome to the conversation. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, I love sharing my crazy story with people and giving hope to other authors that, yeah, you can do this. It's not as hard as you think. You just have to be organized and put in a little effort. It's not actually much different than the hobby of sweepstakes.
Really? You know what's interesting is I've never actually considered sweepstakes like a viable option for myself for making money or for doing it as a way of maybe putting my my book out there, because I was thinking about like, okay, it's such a process. The odds are probably against me. How would I do something that would actually work for me? I love what you've done, especially as the contest queen. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's not that hard to promote your own book. Now, I have a topic that, everybody wants to know how to win. So it makes it a little bit easier for me to get some media or get noticed on social. And then, of course, I host my own giveaways. Hello. I have to host my own giveaways. And
well, I think people like free things.
Yeah. Well, that's why everybody wants to know how to win. Now, it takes effort. So sometimes somebody says, well, can you teach me how to win? And first of all, my book is like over 200 pages thick. I walk you through every aspect of the hobby. But the long short of it is I teach people how to find, then organize, then enter and win. And one of the keys is to be organized so you don't disqualify yourself. And so
interesting.
Those same aspects apply to book marketing. You have to have a plan. Find where am I going to do it? What's my purpose? What are my audience? Who do I want to target? Then you have to be organized. You have to create, the program or the giveaway on whatever platform you desire. Is it an email giveaway? Is it a social giveaway? And then you have to enter. Well, in this case, it would be promote and then give away. And it's almost the same patterning. And
interesting. It's interesting that the marketing and the sweepstakes are both very similar kind of strategies from what you've seen in the past. Yeah. That's
I
so
think
intriguing.
This is why I was good at it. So I went to school. So how I started this whole thing is I went to school for business with marketing major. And I did every job in the marketing department you can imagine. And then when the dot-com bubble hit, yes, I am that old. I lost my job and was unemployed for months and months and months. And I read an article in Reader Digest about a couple that entered sweepstakes as a hobby and would win heaps of stuff. And I thought, that's a good idea. I don't have to work. I'll just win stuff. Okay. It does not work that way. I read that article in 2001 and I still work. So that has not worked as a strategy. However, I've won close to $400,000 in cash and prizes, including 24 trips. I am gunning for trip number 25 this year.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's the best hobby, but I'm super biased. And this week, now this is something that we should tell your reader or your viewers. Reader. We're talking books. I said readers.
Reader viewers.
Reader viewers. That's actually something when I was recording the Audible book, you have to go through and make small tweaks because in one of the books, it says dear readers. So I had to change it to dear listeners. So it's interesting how you have to change the verbiage for each platform. Anyway, I digress, which I love to do, by the way. I feel like
no, that's totally all right. I tend to get like, I want to say I get about 75% writers who are working on books and short stories, and then I get 25% who are working on scripts. So I think about the end result, and I'm like, okay, so a readership or an audience. So I'm like,
well, it's
let's
kind
make
of the
sure.
same. It's kind of the same in a way, but
It is just like different terminology.
Gosh, did I just lose my train of thought? No, because I am now. This is funny. When I was researching my first book, I discovered there were sweepstakes conventions, and I had to go check it out. So that year, my husband and I went to Moline, Illinois, and attended the 16th annual National Sweepstakes Convention. There was 600 people that liked to enter sweepstakes. They were all, the room was basically winners, and I got to present on how to attract luck. It was so fun.
That is
and
so cool.
Found my tribe. I tell you, those people are my people. And I said to my husband, I'm coming every year. Well, this year's annual National Sweepstakes Convention is in Las Vegas, Nevada from August 1st to 4th. Ooh. And I'm leaving Wednesday to go. Now, this is the brain of a busy author. So I have a book that's coming out. That was waiting for the audio companion product to be put on the website. Then we had a mistake. I discovered in saving grace, I discovered a mistake on the cover, and I got the graphics guy to fix it. And instead of hitting save draft while we waited, I accidentally hit publish. So today I accidentally published a book because I'm so busy. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to promote this book that I just published. I have 2 days before I have to leave to the convention.
And now you have to put a whole marketing strategy.
I still haven't finished packing. I'm finishing my year-end accounting, which is like a month behind.
And Carolyn, for our audience, how many books have you published? How many books have you published so far?
This is number 10.
So 9 books published, and book number 10 is a surprise publishing release date.
And some of them are not. So some of them are kind of repeats. Like I did, like one of the books I published was this in Spanish. So it's and I have this one in Spanish. Yeah, a husband. I like it better than X because I think it's a
little friendlier,
a little less harsh. Because it is what it is.
So, Carolyn, what we're going to do is we'll hop into the sweepstakes portion in just a little bit. We actually have a really cool PowerPoint set up. I want to dig into book marketing. So let's dig into the marketing strategy. A lot of our writers and a lot of the audience here tends to be published or either unpublished authors who are hoping to get their first book out there, right? And most of them probably have a lot of maybe work a 9-to-5 job, have family responsibilities, and being an author isn't their primary job or source of income yet. So for a lot of these authors, I kind of wanted to think through what's that strategy that you recommend? How do you go about putting together a successful book marketing strategy for this year? What would you do?
Well, first, it's not just like a giveaway, because I love giveaways, obviously. And I think they're a great strategy, but you don't want to fall into the trap where you just put it out there and then every sweeper in the world enters your giveaway, and then none of them stay following you or make any sales. So there's some key things. You need to have a full on business plan. If you're an indie author, everybody. So when I tell people to sweepstakes, I tell them always have an email address just for entering sweepstakes.
Okay.
Use a sweepstakes site and read the rules. Well, it's almost the same for marketing your book. You need to have a website. I know that's so intimidating for so many people.
Yeah.
But there's sites like Wix and Sprout Social and some of these other ones. But or not Sprout Social. Sprout Social is a marketing one that I use. Whatever the other was, Square, I think it is. But there's, a site like Wix where it's kind of out of the box. You don't have to think too hard. and, you know, just go to like Whois and buy your own domain name, and then go from there.
Why do you think the website's so important?
Because you own it. This is what I told one of my clients back in 2014. I said this to him 10 years ago because I knew this. If Facebook, because Facebook was the big marketing 10 years ago, if Facebook disappears tomorrow, how do you connect with people?
Yep.
Your email. So when you have that, have a website, have an email list, and have a freebie. Whether it's a short, if you're an author, maybe it's a short story or a prequel, like a 10-page prequel, something, you know, somebody would give them a reason to sign up for your email. And then you own that list. Because if all the social, if every other marketing trick disappears, you own that list.
And the thing, and I absolutely love the point you're making. What if, for those of you who are here in the audience, what if you have a following on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, on one of these platforms, right? And what if you post content that might not align with the platform, and then you will get banned through maybe no fault of your own through one of these companies when you don't have any say. Now, suddenly you've lost a humongous following on one of these social media platforms. But if you own your own website or your own email list, you can't be banned from your own thing because you own it. I completely agree. And I completely believe in that strategy.
Right. And I actually get, from as many as possible, I even buy the domain names for the books. So if somebody types it in, it comes better. I just finished writing. Yeah, see, I just finished writing my website in Wix and it worked out really well. That's why it's not so hard. But again, if it's not your main job and you're already writing, and then I say to you, yeah, now go build a website. And you're like, I don't have time. Yeah, I know. Trust me. I don't work for somebody else and I don't have time.
I do mine through a Squarespace as well. I know there's a couple of options, but I think just going out and figuring out, like, okay, if somebody asks about my book, where do they go to? And I think that's definitely a good first
simple. Keep it simple. And the other thing that I do is I created kind of like a hidden page called, like, if you go to contestqueen.com/links or wordsforwinning.com/links.
And both of them are down in the YouTube description down below.
That's the one that I use. Well, those are the hidden pages that I use on Instagram, and like where you're allowed one URL. So instead of using like Linktree and having them go somewhere else, they land on my website. So I get the traffic. And so so you don't see it in my, like, if you come to my website, you're not going to see a menu item that says links. That doesn't exist. It's just a page. And I did all the buttons. I made it look, you know, like I'm a picture, and my, this is another marketing tip that I forgot to put, because I'm just talking specifically about giveaways in the presentation. But for marketing, have your own links page. You know, I have my profile, like a small bio, and then the main links, like this book. And sometimes if I'm hosting a giveaway, I'll put in a button, hey, win, you know, this, and then I'll change it. You know, it's your site. You can go in, you can change it anytime. And, you know, I fix things. And sometimes I find mistakes in books. Oh my God. And guess what? I fix it, and I just upload a new PDF, and I just upload a new thing, like to Kindle. It takes 1 minute. I'm like, that's awesome. Well,
that's awesome that it's so easy to fix that.
Don't stress about it. But make your own links page, so you're driving people to you, right?
Yeah, I think that's really good. So then if people go to the links, then they can click on any of the resources about you, right?
Yeah, actually, Dave, can you pop up David's question? Because it's a good one.
David. Okay, so David is saying, for self-publishing, are there good alternatives to Amazon?
So here, it's kind of a catch-22. So I am so old that I was using something called Books. I can't even remember what the first iteration called. Then it got bought out by CreateSpace, and then CreateSpace got bought out by Amazon, and now it's KDP. So I have been self-publishing, and it cost me thousands for the first book. Like, we had to pay for all these things. And the longer it went, the cheaper it got, to now you can just upload a book to Amazon and it's free.
But they take a percentage out of each book.
Well, they
sold
did anyway.
Right? But it's just so much smaller than it used to be.
One, except it cost me thousands to put it on there, and now it costs nothing to put it on there, and they still take the same percentage, so it didn't make a lick of difference. And actually, part of what we paid for in the first book was a layout. They were going to lay it out, and it was so terrible. I cried for a whole day, and then I spent 2 weeks learning book layout, and then I mastered a template that works. So now every book is literally the same book. I take the template and I put in the new book.
That's good. So that saves you a lot of time.
So they're all the same size because I'm not changing it. It works.
Exactly. Right. And I think that's taking a pre-existing system and you're saving yourself time, right? That's what the market has responded well to.
It works. But also when I upload it to Amazon, I know the binding is going to work. I know the spine is going to work. I know the where they slice the book. I don't know. What do you call that? The bleed, like it's going to cut properly. You know, there's nothing cut off. When I open it up, there's no like text in the middle, like you can read fine, you know, that kind of thing. No,
Carolyn, I actually have
don't fix it.
I actually have a really great question here from Chris. He said, I'm considering not using Amazon. I heard that on taxes, we need to claim what countries our books were sold in once we reach a certain level. Do you know what that level is?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't hit it yet. And last year, I think I sold 55. I'm Canadian, so I'm not even American. I think I sold 55,000 in books last year, and I think it was 60 the year before. And I've never got to a threshold where I have to say each country. Like I just get, I think it's a 1022 or something form from Amazon, and I just give it to my accountant because I'm incorporated. That's the other thing. I incorporated. So I have, through a long series of stuff, and when I was getting a divorce, my ex and I used to own a business that was incorporated. So that when we split up, we just started 2 new corporations, and I took all my stuff and he just took all his stuff, and it was just easy. So I've always been incorporated as a business because I started out as a marketer. I wasn't an author when I started. So it protected me business-wise. And then I just kept it. And I kept just buying business licenses. So when I wrote my first book, I bought the business license for Contest Queen. So I have a numbered company that holds the business license. And then someone said, you know, you just got to separate your marketing. So I created a.k.a. Majesty. So I do all digital marketing and giveaway marketing for companies. Okay. And then I knew, now this is where intuition comes in. I knew when I was registering that business, there's another business. I was like, oh no. And then when I bought the rights to Helene Hadzel's work, only one of her books was contest related. So it sat easily on contestqueen.com, but I put the other 3 on a.k.a. Majesty marketing. And one of my friends, he said, colleagues, he owns a sweepstakes aggregate sweepstakes site. He said, you know, they don't belong there. I go, I know, but I don't want to make another website yet. And then last year, I bought the rights to 10 of Tag Powell's works. Okay. And 5 audio series. And I thought, oh, all right, I can't put it off any longer. I have to make an author website. So I created Words for Winning, and I moved all of the stuff over there. So now I have 3 websites and 3 businesses with 3 different focuses, but they're all owned by the corporation.
Interesting. So are all your books available?
I don't know if it's different because I'm a business and because I'm incorporated, I have to, where I live, it's recommended that you file through an accountant versus just filing your own. So I just give him all my files, and then he does my business taxes and my personal taxes. And it just saves me a lot of trouble. It's much easier to pay an expert. They always say, sell your strengths, buy your weaknesses.
Sell your strengths, buy your weakness. I like that. That's clever.
Right? Because accounting is his strength. And helping people, I say I help people win in life and in sweepstakes.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my strengths. So it's,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I hire him for that. So I don't know what the threshold is. And I don't know if it's different between corporations and individuals.
Mm.
Because yeah, I sold that much, but you know, I have corporate deductions. Like I actually get to write off the accountant from those fees. You know, I deduct, you know, I bought new computer equipment.
Mm-hmm.
I had a new camera last
Mm-hmm.
year. You know, so all that stuff gets, so that's why I give it to him, because I don't know how I do it. And I don't know what the threshold is, but I kind of regret not. See, there's a kind of a catch-22 because I started so long ago. Amazon was the only game in town.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, Ingram Spark has come up. Now, now they're interesting because I missed out on the opportunity to be in some expanded distributions and in libraries. So I don't have that opportunity because I wasn't in Ingram Spark. Now, some people have had, if you look, some people love Ingram Spark. Some people hate Ingram Spark. There seems to be like wishy-washy. And I saw, and I've talked to them and they say, well, you can list with us and just request not to be, because I went and put my books everywhere. I'm in Amazon, Kindle, well, it's Amazon, and then ACX, which I did some audibles. And then I did on my own Kobo, Apple Books, and Google Books. And then, of course, with the Audible, I'm also on iTunes. I choose not to do Kindle Unlimited because then I can go wide. If you do Kindle Unlimited, they want you to only be on their platform. I'm like,
Interesting. So they want like an exclusivity thing.
Right. And I'm like, no. So I do get some expanded distribution. And what I'm finding interesting is there's some countries Amazon doesn't sell to. So some companies, some enterprising young people, I like to think they're young, some enterprising people have set up businesses in the US. They take orders from these countries that don't get, they go and buy all the product and sell it. So they're the ones shipping into those countries because Amazon won't. So I find that sometimes I'll sell like 25 of my book or 50 of my book. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I'll look and it's expanded distribution. And I found some of the websites because I was doing a ton of DMCA takedowns. And I found these companies on this Spanish website. I'm like, what are they doing? And I started to realize they're selling my books into all the South American markets that Amazon isn't selling to. And I'm like, oh, please sell away. buy as many as you want.
Oh, that's awesome. I know what a lot of the tech companies are, one of the things they're focused on right now is doing using AI to auto translate things to different languages, because the international market is so huge.
Because your book is now in AI and who knows what they do with that info. There's a huge lawsuit with the New York Times about that. And I don't know if they just paid them off or it's still in the courts, or I never heard the resolution to that.
My guess is it was probably a payoff. It'll probably take time until there's until we get that case that gets to the federal level, till the government comes down with how everyone's supposed to deal with AI. But
I know. And actually, I had one of the translators. So I've had my one book translated, and I've had a couple books translated into Spanish, and I'm working on German, Italian, and French. And one of them used AI without letting me know until after the fact. And I'm like, oh, I don't know.
That's a problem, right? Because it all comes down to
and then they did that, and then they edited it like to make sure it was right. And then I was like, I should have asked. Yeah, so I am on Amazon. But here's the thing. If you use Ingram Spark, it puts it on Amazon for you. Now, I went to Ingram Spark and said, can I register my books with you? And they said, yeah, you can pick, don't be on Amazon, don't be on Apple. But it could cause a problem with Google and Kobo. And I'm like, all right. But I thought maybe I could just do the libraries and the expanded distribution. But when I went, they said, your book is on Amazon. And I'm like, but I don't want you to do Amazon. I want you to do other things. And they said, no, you have to delist it off of Amazon and put it here and relist it on here. And I'm like, Oh, no, 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 no.
Strange.
I am not taking my best sellers off of Amazon to maybe have you work at it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not changing.
I mean, right?
Like, we can't get away
Don't
from
change what's
Amazon.
working.
Amazon's my number one source of income. Like, I do get royalties from everybody else every month, but Amazon's number one. Book, print, Kindle, and ACX, which is Audible.
So Carolyn, can you share what, since it sounds like you've sold, obviously hitting your 10th surprise book launch today, what do you attribute to your success for like marketing and being able to sell so many copies of each of these books?
Well, part of it is the topic, but part of it is also the hooks. Like, some people say, well, I write, cozy romance for, an example. And there's so many cozy romance out there. Well, then if nobody can be successful in cozy romance, why are there successful authors in cozy romance? I mean, I sometimes get them just to read, like, just before bed. I have my Kindle, and I like to, sometimes at night, instead of the phone, I will put the Kindle screen on. I do the dark with the light, so it's like really dim before bed. It's nice. And I'll lie in bed and cozy up with this little book. And I remember the last one I read, it came up and said, she's in New York. Like, she's a bestseller. This is like her, I don't know, 20th novel. And I'm like, wow, that's really impressive. Good for her. So some people are getting it. So I think it's all a point of, you kind of have to be on Amazon. And the other thing I like to tell people, I look at my numbers, and 60 to 70% of my sales are paperbacks.
Really? Not audiobook, paperbacks.
Okay, so here's what I noticed. As soon as I started doing Audible, I did notice a decrease in paperback and Kindle being picked up by the audio. So I think when people were first looking for so the number one bestseller I have is the Name It and Claim It game, which is this one, the one we're going to do the excerpt from. Okay, the Name It and Claim It game. So I noticed an immediate drop in sales on Amazon, but obviously an uptick in Audible. So I don't know if in the past, before the Audible came out, if people only had two options and they would pick one, and now people that are interested come and go, oh, there's an Audible version, and they use their credit, because you get those credits every month if you belong to the program. And they just use their credit. So I don't know how, like, what people think. And I've got 3 out. I'm working on a 4th. So I don't know how that's the only thing I don't like about Amazon too, is you don't get any of that feedback. You don't get, well, someone came, like, I don't see any of the decision process. I just see the sales numbers. I don't know where those people are coming from. Did they all see a YouTube? Like, did they all see this live stream and say, oh, we have to get that book and come? Like, was it from this link?
So is there no like analytics? Is there no type of analytics for that? Oh,
they don't give you that. Amazon keeps that.
What was that?
They keep that and 40%.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I'm too used to like YouTube and being able to like deep dive into everything. And I haven't even deep dive.
There's
I'm
no
not
diving.
with Amazon yet.
That's
unfortunate.
Say thank you.
So they want you to think about the sales and the book numbers, but they don't want you to think about what the algorithm's actually serving people.
But I can see from certain things, like, I've been so busy getting ready for the annual National Sweepstakes Convention this week that I haven't really posted on TikTok on my Words for Winning channel, and my sales are directly down. I can see a correlation between posting on social and and sales for me. And I've seen some authors, like on Book Talk on TikTok, do the best. Like, sometimes they hook you, and I'm listening and listening and listening, and then I realize, oh my gosh, this isn't actually their story. It's a book. It's their book.
Interesting.
And
And I
it's
know you, Carolyn,
brilliant,
I know you've
especially
shared.
the female authors, because I saw one, she was making coffee. She was doing an iced coffee. So she had all the stuff. So you're watching her make this iced coffee in the morning. She's getting her thing and she's getting the brew and she's doing the thing. And she's telling the story about how she was working in this place and this guy and then the thing. And she got, and her friend did this and on and on. And I'm like, oh my God, what a S show. And then I realized, oh, that's her book plot. That is so good. Like, that just makes you want to go and buy the book. And I'm like, oh, that's the best marketing. I'm like,
so wait, she was doing
like
was it like a scene from the book, or it was like a scene?
It was kind of the plot. I tried it with Helene's with the chapter that I tried it. I am not an actress. That's the other thing, right? Like, everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. Like, if you sit with me, say when you publish your book and you say to me, hey, let's have a Zoom meeting and I want some help. And I will download exactly what you should be doing. And I've done it with other authors. Recently, I've been dealing with a family that's connected, you know, the whole Silva crew. It's not the Silvas, it's another author. And they were looking at certain things. And I'm like, no, you have to do this. You have to do that. You gotta, you know, and I could just see what they needed to do. And they're like, how did you find us? You know, like, I said, well, this is how it's all everybody's connected. That's
so, Carolyn, I'm curious, what, for a lot of our audience who is here, and it sounds like you found a lot of success and you've seen some strategies, especially you mentioned TikTok, you mentioned Book Talk, right? I know TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, there's a lot of communities on there. What would you say is like, might be a successful like book marketing strategy for somebody who's on these social media platforms?
I think you have to be posting all the time. And there's actually the marketer had to take a course. And you know, you just learn to do things and promote and be out there all the time and just be yourself. You know what sells? Authenticity.
Yeah, that's the truth. And I think it's hard for people to find the authentic version of themselves on social media, because you see a lot.
Because you think you have to be like, okay,
yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
hard.
film a TikTok now. Let me just get all, you know.
It's hard. And some people can fake authenticity. There are some people who can fake it.
Oh, not me.
The majority of people like myself, like clearly yourself as well, like we can't fake it. And I think
I can't fake it. I'm not that good.
And I think when people put out posts, whether that's videos, written posts or whatever, if it's not coming from a truly authentic place or it's not creating value for the audience, the reader experience, it just doesn't connect with people.
You know, it's funny. The first video I did that viral. So I got on TikTok late. So in 2020, I took this little online, you know, people promote something and then they sell you their course. And I'm like, that's business. Great idea. It's like the ice cream taste test spoon before you buy the cone, which flavor you want. So I went on this it was how TikTok was good for business. And I got on there and everyone was dancing and singing. I mean, it was COVID lockdowns. Of course, everyone was bored. And I'm like, I don't see it. I'm busy. I don't have time for this. I take it off my phone. Then I'm writing my next sweepstakes book called Prizes Everywhere. It's not done. It will be out this year. That's my big project that I'm finishing. And I realized that I need to teach people how to win on TikTok, and I can't teach what I don't know. So I got back on TikTok and I'm posting. I don't know what to post. I don't understand it. I'm trying to figure it out. It was so painful. And I'm a marketer. And I've also been a Toastmaster for now 18 years. So at the time, it was like 14 years. So I know I can get up in front of a room and 1,000 people and give a speech off the cuff. No problem. Here on this little screen, I'm struggling. Anyway, I'm doing these painful posts. And one day I did one on my iPad. Like, I was testing the difference between my phone and my iPad. You know, I'm playing around with it. I'm trying to figure it out. And that's actually how you have to go through life, just play around and see what works.
A lot of practicing, trial and error.
Right. Yeah. Trial and error, muck about. And you know what? Guess what? If it doesn't work, it's gone in like 3 seconds because no one's ever going to see it again. And if it virals, you might never hit.
That is the truth. We go into these social media platforms thinking that, oh, what if I do a post that sucks? People are going to hate it. They're going to think worse of me. No, people don't care unless
they don't care. So just do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
and I've tried different things. Yep. Some, and people love to criticize. You can't be a duck with water rolling off your back. You can't give a crap what anybody else thinks. That took me a long time to learn. That was also a hard one. Now I don't give a rat's bum. Whatever, you don't like me, next. There's a lot of people that want to learn how to win. You don't want to learn how to win? I'm going to go hang around the other winners. So I did one where I gave the history of this book, and it was and I was so stiff. I'm like, the luckiest woman I ever met won every prize she ever desired, including a fully furnished home. And in this edition of, it was awful. It was awful. 100,000 views. I sold as many books in 2 days as I had the whole previous year. I'm like, oh my God, this is how TikTok is good for business.
Oh man. Well, I think
and
we
then
can
I'm like,
all
now
agree.
what do I post?
We
and
can
now
all
I just
agree
talk
that
about
TikTok
different
is
things.
awesome.
I like to talk about all things lucky. So lately, all my posts have been related to the sweepstakes convention because that's what we're doing. And I'm going to be going live and trying different things. But you know what? Believe it or not, someone here in the comments said their life is boring. You know what? My life isn't exciting either. You know what? People say, what's it like when you're sweepstaking? I have a copy of High Stakes Sweepers on my YouTube channel if you want to go watch it. All of the problem was it was in 2011 and they were trying to replicate extreme couponing, but you can't control luck like you can coupons. And the director, not the director, the person at the management company, like the the production company, I can't remember their title. He said to me, so what grand prizes are you planning to win in the next 2 weeks? And I'm like, all of them? Like, I don't know. Like, I can't. If I could do that, I would never have written a book. I would be on some island somewhere just raking it in. Mom as mom could be. Like, you can't predict. Like, that's like trying to predict the lottery numbers or which slot machine is going to hit. Or which hand is going to hit. Like, you cannot predict luck. Like, it's just impossible. So we had to recreate. Now, all the prizes and things people won in the show were real, but they had to be recreated because you can't recreate luck. It's hilarious. But now I lost my oh yeah. But the reason that they had to do all that is because how sweepstaking is, it's like watching paint dry. Do you know what I do to sweepstakes for an hour? I sit at my computer and I click and tap. It's like writing a book. There's you can't, just imagine me for 1 hour on the show. This is me sweepstaking. That's it. It's it.
That's so exciting.
Or on my phone, there's some phone giveaways, right?
Or we can time lapse that and turn that into a 20-second TikTok video.
Oh, I have done that.
And people probably like that. But
no,
Carolyn, I think
we got like 200 views.
I actually want to use this as a great segue, especially because we're touching on sweepstaking. Let's hop into the live reading. So what we're going to do, I'm going to segue.
This is Eileen's best win, by the way.
Excellent.
So this is my favorite story.
Beautiful. Let me pull up the screen. So for those of you who are here with us in the live experience, we're going to be hopping into a live reading of, let's see, make sure I'm getting it right, The Name It and Claim It game by Helene Hadsell and updated by Carolyn Wilman. So what we'll be doing after that, we're going to be doing a live workshop about giveaways and sweepstakes. So make sure you tune in. And if you're enjoying the experience, follow and subscribe. We're here doing the Create Right Now podcast every Sunday, and Carolyn is clear she is an amazing expert. She clearly knows what she's talking about. So let me pull this up, and I have it here. All right, so that is perfect. All right, so I have the book here, Carolyn, and it looks like we are all ready. So, did you want me to? I can read third, or you can, whatever, or we can tag team this.
Yeah. So this was Helene's best story about her biggest win, and so it's of course my favorite story in the whole book.
Ooh, okay.
And I have not achieved this level of success yet. That's what I say. It's always yet.
Yeah, like knock on wood.
So why don't you start? Because I did it. Actually, I will say something now as a teaser for when we're done. I learned something doing the Audible book for this about why you should always read your nonfiction books out loud to yourself, especially if they're self-improvement or motivational or inspirational or metaphysical style books. And then I will tell, so we're going to tease that at the end. So this feels to me like we're doing the Audible again.
Interesting. Why you should read all of your nonfiction books out loud. Even I don't know the answer
to yourself. Like
intrigued.
just read them out loud to yourself, and I'll explain why after.
Okay, perfect. So, excerpt of The Name It and Claim It game by Helene Hadsell and updated by Carolyn Wilman. Now, act surprised. They expect it. Little did I realize what was in the making for taking when I went to the contest club meeting after my return from Europe. The group met on the first Monday in September, shortly after I returned from my European tour. I was now known as the gadabout, with the many trips I'd won in the contesting field. I might add, I also was glad about the many comforts and conveniences provided by the merchandise prizes I had won. Can you top this? Seemed to be the question that now presented itself. After I shared my trip experience with the members present, everyone expressed a desire that they too might like to win a trip to Europe. When the announcement was made of current contestants now in progress, I really perked up when I heard that the Formica company was awarding a dream home in their building material promotion. Now to me, that could be the living beginning. The Formica home that someone would win had been on display at the New York World's Fair. I must admit, although I attended the fair, I was not aware of the contest nor their display. Perhaps I was too excited about our European tour. The contest was promoting Formica products. All home builders in the US who built a home with a certain amount of Formica products and who participated in the parade of homes had the entry blanks and the rules. In order to participate in the contest, the rules specified you had to be a family homeowner and you must have visited one of the Formica homes participating in the contest. This was Monday evening, and the deadline was on Friday of the following week. I was told that the only Formica home participating in our area that had blanks for the contest was in Garland, Texas, 19 miles from Irving. On the way home from the club meeting that evening, I kept thinking of the house. All new, modern, and spacious. The more I thought about it, the better I liked the idea. It was made to order for me. Tuesday morning, when I woke up, all I thought about was the house. After my husband left for work and the children were off to school, I tried to get on with my daily tasks. Call it a hunch, intuition, or wishcraft. I felt compelled to drive to Garland to register in the sweepstakes. It began to rain. I called a friend who also enjoys entering contests and happens to live in Irving. I asked her to drive to Garland with me to register. Sorry, I can't go, Helene. I just washed my hair, and it's a miserable day to be on the highway, she said. I called another friend in hopes she might go with me. No, she was sewing and didn't want to get out in the rain. She reminded me that the contest promotion had been on for almost 2 years, and it was a waste of gas and time at this late date. I then tried to bribe her into going with me by telling her I would buy her a pizza for lunch. No luck. Next, I tried to talk myself out of going until later in the week, but I certainly did not dismiss the idea of entering. Somehow, the most important thing for me to do that day was to get in the car, drive to Garland, and register my name for that home. Note, Helene took inspired action. If you have a gut feeling or hunch to go into a particular direction, do a specific task, etc., do it. It is your intuition guiding you, even if it seems illogical. Everyone has had experiences in their life when they have ignored it and regretted that decision. I drove in the rain, located the Formica home, and registered both my name and my husband's name. I then sat in the spacious living room as I admired the beautiful furnishings and mastercraft workmanship of the Formica features. It was then I became aware that I would win the house. Don't ask me how, I just knew. I took an entry blank home and was rereading the rules when I pushed the panic button. I'd signed my husband's name, and the rule stated that the winner must have visited one of the Formica homes. He hadn't. When he got home that evening, I insisted that he drive to Garland with me and familiarize himself with the house, so when the judges notified us, we would not be disqualified by not following the rules. I learned that you could lose a major prize by goofing up and not following the rules. I know a woman who entered a contest to win a 5-room house of furniture. She really wanted and needed the prize because they were then building a new home. She signed her 11-year-old daughter's name to the entry she submitted. She was so interested in keying her entry to find out what she had written that might win. She didn't follow the rules that stated you must be an adult. When the judging firm called and the daughter answered and told the judges she was 11 years old, that was the end of that. The mother later called the agency to explain she hadn't noticed the contest for adults was over, 21 years of age. The judges were sorry she overlooked the rules, but they had to abide by the rule as the furniture company sponsoring the contest would not award their top prize to a child. The same weekend, we drove to Garland, introduced ourselves to the builder, and reviewed the details of the house. When we returned home, my great expectations began to manifest. Active faith alone would impress the subconscious, and I wasn't going to miss a beat. The following week, I decided the house would be furnished with hand-carved Spanish furniture. Why not? I'd seen just what I wanted on one of our trips to Mexico. I asked my husband to draw up plans for the house. The boys also put in their wants and desires. They suggested we have a huge game room, one that would accommodate a full-size pool table, the organ we had won earlier, the TV center, and music area, and several couches for informal entertaining. I expressed the desire that the kitchen and breakfast area be open to the patio garden. We got so specific. We were all projecting toward its reality. Our next act of faith was to spend weekends looking at lots for the house to be built on. The rule stated we should choose a lot anywhere in the United States, and Formica would pay for that lot too. We spotted 3 lots that would suit our purpose. We had a fun time on this project alone. 6 weeks passed and still no news. Then one evening, while I was attending a club meeting, the phone rang. My husband was there to answer it. The judging firm that was handling the contest promotion was calling. No, not to say that we have won any prize, just to ask questions. The formal procedure is to see if contestants followed all the rules. Question: was H.B. Hadsell married and a homeowner? Question: did we visit a Formica home and where? Of course, my husband could answer all the questions because we had followed the rules. This preliminary investigation does not mean that you have won the prize. We were informed this is necessary to avoid awarding top prizes to people who are not eligible because they hadn't followed all the rules. The company also must be certain that there is such a person and that they are not related to anyone working for the company or conducting the contest. Note: always read the official rules. Every clause. This practice has not stopped. With modern technologies, potential big winners are investigated and vetted behind the scenes by detective agencies before being declared potential winners. You agree to the search when you agree to abide by the official rules. It's only after all the release forms are signed that you are then declared an official winner. We were excited after the investigation and now questioned ourselves as to how long it would take them to make it official that we were the winners of their house. A week later, on Friday morning to be exact, I announced that we would hear of our house win today. I recalled commenting on how I'd better get the house straightened up in case the officials came early. Also, I'd have to make a trip to the bakery to get pastries to serve these lovely people. My husband decided to stay home from work that day so that he could be on hand for the big moment. At 3 p.m., the phone rang. The person on the other end of the line identified himself as one of the big wheels from Formica. Oh, heavens, no. He didn't refer to himself as Big Wheel, but logic will tell you they certainly would not send a nobody for a big deal like awarding a dream house. He was accompanied by a public relations man, whom I can only refer to as a ball of fire and a showy individual. I really like the fellow because it's the live wires that get a job done. The Big Wheel asked if he and one of his associates, the ball of fire, might come to our home to discuss a contest prize for which we were being considered. If your husband is not home this time of day, we will wait until later in the evening as we wish to have both of you present, he explained. I almost blew it. I was about to blurt out, what took you so long? Instead, I answered, oh, do come on out. My husband is home today and I have the coffee perkin. Now, act surprised. They expect it, was the instruction I gave my husband. They came, we did. When the glad tidings were verbally made official, the merry-go-round began. They informed us that there had been over 2 million entries for that sweepstakes. It took no time to get the home ready for the show. They approved the lot, selected the architect, and incorporated our wishes into the house plans. The Formica team, the builder, and everyone connected with the Hadsall house were wonderful. They did so many nice added things to please us. Now, every time I see any Formica products, I again mentally thank the team of lovely people for turning our wishes into reality. What about taxes? Is the first question people seem to ask. Formica thought about that too. They informed us that if there were any financial concerns over taxes, they would help us with this so we would not be burdened by turmoil or taxes and turn against this good fortune. However, we were able to take care of the situation, and for the past years, we've enjoyed our spacious, gracious, comfortable Formica fortress. One of the nicest features of this beautiful home was the carefreedomness of work, worry, and waxing. Formica took care of us, and now Formica takes care of itself. Beautiful people, are you beginning to realize the power of positive thinking and active faith? Change your expectations and you change your conditions. Begin to act as if you expect success, happiness, and abundance. Prepare for your good. Nothing is too good to be true. Nothing is too wonderful to happen. Nothing is too good to last when you have a positive attitude for your good.
I know, fun, right?
Ooh, that's a really good story, by the way. That's a really interesting story.
Now, what's crazy is when I was doing the Audible book, there was a chapter in here. It's page 82. There's a story, and it's about a woman. I never sent this to you, but I'm thinking I might, you know what? I'm going to do a reading without the paper. Why not?
Okay.
We'll have a little fun. And this is how important positive thinking is and putting it out to the universe.
Okay.
So there's this story, and I read the Audible on Wednesday.
Okay.
And then because Helene Hadsall was friends with Jose Silva, so he wrote this famous book.
Okay.
And she was his assistant. And then I've been helping out Silva Method Canada, and assisting at their events. So I did Audible on Wednesday, and then I went and assisted Silva. I was kind of turning into Helene. And then something happened on the Saturday. So I'm going to read you the story, and then I'll tell you what happened on Saturday.
Okay.
Do you know what you really want? Don't be too quick with your answer, because the average person has so many wants, desires, and wishes. They change daily with one's moods. You are not able to give yourself the chance to generate enough energy for your end result to vacillate. I suggest you play this mental game with yourself. Ask yourself, what is the most important goal I wish to accomplish? Think about it seriously. Is it positive, constructive, and creative? Sort of imagining it, having it. Feel how it feels to have it. How will it change your lifestyle? A word of advice: you never need involve another to obtain your end result. Imposing your will on others is a no-no, and it's really not necessary. Let me give you this example. You're working in an office position. Your boss is a fink. He goofs off, and there's only one way to do things, his way. You feel he lacks the knowledge for his position, and you know you could do better. You want his job. You might entertain the idea that he gets fired, or the higher boss gets wise to him as you have, and at last get you the position should have had all along. Granted, we all fantasize about this type of situation at times. We dismiss it because our mind gets busy on other things. What I'm saying is, if you keep up this thought long enough and strong enough for it to become an obsession, chances are that it will happen in due time. This is not the way to play the game. You can obtain the same results with peace of mind and not have to manipulate people. You can enjoy your achievements with this method. I desire the perfect job with the perfect pay. That is all that is necessary. Every time your job comes to mind, repeat this phrase silently or think about it. With this as an end result, it will work its way to fruition in due course. Your boss may be transferred, resign, or whatever. You may be even offered another job with another firm that may meet all your needs. There's no need to set things up. Just watch how they fall into place. For if this is truly your end result and you use a proper mental desire, you will accomplish it. So I wanted to read that part because it ties into the story. One of the first finest publications that goes into detail on a plan to accomplish this goal is titled It Works, the famous little red book that makes your dreams come true by R.J.H.J. As I lecture throughout the United States, I get questions from the audience regarding particular situations. I also ask them if they wish to write and tell me their experiences of how they obtained their end result. The following is an incident that happened to a student. I don't enter contests, and I don't feel that I can afford the money out of the family budget for my desire, she said. Note, at that time, the main method of entering sweepstakes was mail-in. You would need to buy paper, 3x5s, envelopes, pens, and stamps. Now you don't have that expense of entering online and giveaways, as you likely already own a computer or cell phone. Her desire was to take a trip to the Bahamas. Seems like one of her friends had taken the leisure cruise and had related how great it was. So impressed the student that she too wanted to make the voyage. Her husband, however, did not share her enthusiasm, nor did he care to go. That did not dampen her desire. She still wanted it for herself. I suggested that she continue to project energy and know that her wish would come true. 4 weeks later, when I received a postcard with a picture of a ship postmarked from the Bahamas, the card merely stated it. I named it, and I'm now claiming it, and her signature. Upon her return home, she wrote me the details of how all this came about. While taking art classes, she got acquainted with one of the other students in the class. And the student, who was a distributor for women's cosmetics, told the lady that the company she worked for was having a sales promotion. And the person in each district with the largest sales would win a trip to the Bahamas. She was confident she would win the trip. To date, she had submitted the largest amount of sales. That is when the student told her of her desire to take such a trip. The lady wished her artist friend success on her win and hoped the trip would be all that she dreamed. A week later, she received a phone call from her friend. She had won the trip and was ready to leave when her son suddenly became ill and had to undergo an appendectomy. She couldn't leave under these conditions, and she knew of no one in her family that could make or want the trip on such short notice. If it was not taken, it would be lost, as it was pre-planned. It was a pre-planned package deal. So if she wanted the trip, it was hers, free, no strings attached. Of course, she accepted and was elated because the experience was everything she had hoped for. She confessed that she was amazed at how quickly everything fell into place. So now, I read that story for Audible on Wednesday. And Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was assisting the Silva method. And a lot of it is the different Silva techniques, a lot of meditation, a lot of clearing your mind, introspective work. Mm-hmm. Saturday, I get a text from a friend. Do you want to go on a cruise? I'm like, thanks. I don't have the budget right now because I'm paying a producer. I'm renting studio time and paying an audio producer. No budget for a cruise. She says, it's free. It's already paid for. Mike can't go, her boyfriend. He can't go. Do you want his ticket? And I said, what do I have to do? She says, can you get to Miami? I said, yes.
Okay.
So 3 days after I read that, I was going to go on a cruise. The cruise went from Miami to the Dominican Republic to the Bahamas and then back to Miami. So I'm filming. I'm doing TikToks and stuff. Like the water was stupid blue. I'm standing there and I'm like this, and it's 6 weeks. So 6 weeks from when I read that story out loud, and I'm thinking, wow, I'd love to be on a cruise. I've never been on a cruise. To the text, to being in the Bahamas for free. What? I still can't get over that one.
That is so incredible.
Read your metaphysical. And the other thing too is I read that first portion. You know how many times I edited this book to make sure it was right before I published it?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
When I read that first section out loud, when I was doing it for Audible, it really hit me how deep what she was teaching actually was. And I don't think a lot of people grasp it sometimes. And I think that may be true for a lot of metaphysical books, like and thought, new thought books, that the lessons are there, but they don't completely sink in. And I think reading it out loud, I could hear how deep some of the lessons were. And so I highly recommend that if you're doing any kind of self-improvement books, read them out loud. Like, yeah, read them first, but then read them out loud. You will be amazed at how it hits you so differently, because it's not just with your eyes now, because you're reading it with your eyes, but you're saying it and then you're also hearing it. So now you have like 3 senses involved versus 1. And I think that makes a difference.
I completely love that. I always recommend for writers working on their stories, even during the drafting process, to have one of the drafts being them reading it out loud to hear a different version, a different side of their story as they're working on editing it. So I think it's still that power of audio, regardless of whether you're working on it or after a book like that is published. I think that's incredible.
Actually, absolutely. I had to change some of the books a little bit, because what else I found strange, sometimes it would read fine. Like if I just read it on the page, it reads, it makes sense. Like it's not weird. It's not spelled wrong. It's not grammatically incorrect. Everything is proper. But then when I went to read it for Audible, I'm like, that sounds stupid. It sounds horrible. It read fine. It was not odd at all, but it sounded dumb. So sometimes I would have to go and change sentences because the KDP does this thing called Whisper Sync with Audible. So if you buy an Audible book and they say, hey, for an extra $5, you can get the paperback or the Kindle, whatever.
Yep.
They do that. They want the book to be as close to the Kindle as possible. So I had to go and change the print version to match the audio version. So I changed it. But it was so amazing to me how sometimes even things that made sense on paper did not make sense out loud. So yeah, your advice to authors to always read their stuff back to themselves out loud is so key, because you will find things that on paper makes sense, or when you're reading it on your computer screen, oh yeah, that's when you say it out loud, you're like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And you have to go back and fix it. Uh-oh.
But in our head,
I lose my camera. Hold on, I gotta switch. There we go.
No worries. So now's a good segue. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up the PowerPoint and let's hop into the workshop.
Okay, this is good. Hang on.
And that way you can mess around with fix your camera for a second.
You know what? Unfortunately, I have a beautiful DSLR that, because my office is so small, and because my office is so small and my lights are so big, it heats up. And I'm at about an hour and 15 minutes. And I think it gets overheat. I see the message, it says internal overheating. And I'm like, uh-oh. So if I do a 1-hour live stream, we're good, but we went over. But we had we had to read that story, right?
I know.
So that's okay. The quality of this camera isn't as good, but here's another lesson I want to just quickly give to authors. Just do it. Whatever you have. Like when I started doing these live streams for myself, I had a card table. You told me you had a card table.
Yeah.
I had whatever wonky lights I could put up. I had to squeeze myself. Like our office is painted like it's like a sports memorabilia office. Terrible for filming. So that's why I have these panels, and my book covers I had made as backgrounds. But I used to push myself up against my bookcase. So my background was like, and it was tight. Like I'd be like squashed in. I could barely move my mouse. It was, it was ridiculous. Right. And I used whatever camera, like and it wasn't huge. And then sometimes, if I hit the table by mistake, the whole thing would shake, but over time I was able to upgrade, and, but don't think something has to be perfect for you to get started. Because if you wait for everything to be perfect, you will never start, because there is no perfect. There's no
Completely
perfect.
agreed.
This is life. Just start. Just start.
Yeah,
Okay, so
we
now we'll do
both
the
start off with card
presentation.
tables. We both start off with card tables.
Right. But that's important to say before we do the presentation, because
Okay.
people think, well, I'm not really good on Instagram. I don't know how to do this. I don't have a website yet. I don't have this. No, just start. Just start, and you will you will improve as you go along.
So
And
something
someone did.
No,
Sorry.
I was going to say something that I heard one of the influencers say at one point. I forgot who it was, but they were saying, I think it might have been Mr. Beast, but they were saying that the strategy with success isn't to be incredible. It's if I'm constantly doing something. The goal is to improve by 0.001% every single day. Kind of like if you're going to the gym or if you're trying to eat healthy.
Oh, I say that all the time.
You just keep improving a little bit every day. And if you put in those reps over time, you will see success, right? As long as you have realistic expectations for the journey.
Yeah, that's it. Just keep going, because you know what? And one of my favorite, the other author that changed my life, which I didn't publish his book. So, but his name is Robert Ohado, and he wrote a book, Transforming Fate into Destiny. And oh my God, where was this going? But you see, like, this is just happening. It's just normal. And you know what? I'm out here and I'm being who I am. And
this is
it'll
what
come
counts,
to me
right?
later.
It'll come in like an hour. So,
yeah.
So
let's go through this, because this is what this was to be the cheapest way possible for an author to run a sweepstakes as part of a marketing plan. So let's go to the first slide.
Perfect. Excellent. So we're going to do that.
So this is the marketing. Like, you should have a marketing plan, even if it's super simple. We were talking about a website. Now, someone did say, hey, I did see a comment like way back. Hey, if I use a Wix website, I don't actually own it. You're correct. You don't own it. That's why I recommend going to Whois to buy the domain, to use it. But if you're really starting out and you're not techie and your budget's small, it's a great way to start. And then when your book's a bestseller, you can always go and build another website and then repoint it. It's not a big deal. That's why I recommend you always own your own domain.
Carolyn, this was actually a good call out. And this was actually another guest I had on the show previously. WTC is actually a website design expert.
Yeah.
But he was speaking to just being aware that you don't own the website, right?
Right.
And that if you want to change, you're going to have to rebuild from scratch.
Correct. He's absolutely correct. I just think it's a good start if you don't have the budget. Like, I started before sites like that, so I've always had to have a webmaster because I started in the dinosaur ages of the internet.
Like AOL and dial-up.
Right. But if you are an author and you are aware of the different points and you want to start that way, then I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Right? I don't think there's anything wrong with starting with Wix and then eventually outgrowing it and moving to something else.
Yeah. And I think if somebody doesn't have, like, I'm trying to put myself in the mindset or the lifestyle of someone who might not have that much time. Maybe they're a student, they have a family. Right. And like, if you have limited time, I would much rather you just start and do something that's easy than do nothing at all.
Right. Exactly. So correct. So I think if you're aware of that and you go, okay, so plan A is this, and then when we grow to this stage, we're going to do that. It's like one of those little cute crabs, and they outgrow their shell and then they get a new shell. It's just like that. You're going to start off with this, and then you'll grow and you'll shake it off and get something else.
WT was like, the first website I built was back in 1998 using HTML and JavaScript.
Okay, should I tell him that my first business website was in 1994?
Woo, WTC, she's got you beat.
I didn't build it though. I had to hire someone like him.
I wish I could say I'd built a website at that time, but I was still very, very young.
Yeah. Oh God. So what I do I understand WordPress to the point where I can go and I can frame it out. So what I do is I'm like the framer. So I'll go into my website. And I'll set up a page for the webmaster, and I'll go in and I'll put all the content, because he doesn't know what to write. right? Like he doesn't know what the description of the book is, what the bullet points are and all that. So I go in and I put it all in, and then he comes and makes it pretty. That's what I say. He'll come in and make it pretty. So I frame it out, and he like puts up the electrical and the drywall and the paint, you know. But then you also have to have an email list. And this is really important. I've been telling my marketing clients, if you notice, this is Idea Majesty branded, because that's my marketing company.
That makes sense.
Because I'm not teaching you from a publishing point of view or from a sweepstakes point of view. I'm teaching you from my marketing. So I put my marketing crown on. By the way, if you can get a logo, my guy came up with that. It's actually a crown and a light bulb. Brilliant.
I love that.
I know, right? He's so smart.
It's very simple.
He does all my book covers too.
W2 is just saying, you are the perfect client. Just give the template and copy and they design it.
Right. And I go in and I frame it. Like I'll even go in and put like, hey, a picture goes here. Like I can go in and I can put like, oh, this has to be 2 columns and stuff. It's good practice. But sometimes I'll do something and I'll message him and I'm like, I don't know what I did. It's way to the left and I can't figure out why. And he'll go, okay. I'll go, I did pretty good, but it's like, I got it like 90% there. Because I'll go in, I'll fix something, like I'll update something, and I got it 90%, and I'm like, I don't know how to do this last thing, and he'll go and he'll fix it. So still not too bad because I did most of the work. The other thing is get on those social media channels. So bookmark. So when when I came up with before I buy a URL, I go and I see what I can get on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and Facebook. So that's one of the reasons I took Words for Winning, because the domain was available. And then I went and I checked and all the handles on Instagram and like, so I went and I just took all the handles and then I went and bought the domain. So then everything matches. So if you could, and a lot of authors just use their name, nothing wrong with that. And I bought the domains for all the other authors I buy too. So if you type in Helen Hadsel or Helene Hadsel or Tag Powell, which is the new book that I accidentally published today, you go to his page on my website. So I have them even pointed to certain parts, not just the main thing. Anyway, get all the social channels. You don't even have to start. You can just put up a post saying, hey, working on it.
Completely agree. I think the biggest book community on social media is probably a combo between, so YouTube has AuthorTube, TikTok has BookTube, Instagram has Bookstagram, Facebook has a very large writing community of all different niches. But I would say those are definitely the top 4 for writing.
Yeah, those are the top 4. I mean, I have Threads, I have LinkedIn, I have I still have Pinterest.
I mean, Pinterest is still predominant. It's still there. There's a reason Pinterest has survived for as long as it has.
Right.
It's not as top of mind as some of the other ones, but it does still have a strong following.
Right, it does. And I had Pinterest.
And I think Threads is just
in my
newer.
last book, because you could win a ton of giveaways on Pinterest, but it doesn't exist anymore. So, yeah, let's go to the next one. So basically, this is what you should be doing. And then if you decide to do a giveaway, so once you get your marketing plan in place and you're comfortable and you get that going and you think, okay, my book is out, I want to do something, or I want to pre-promote it, you know, you can do announcements, you can give away advanced copies, you can give away short stories. So say, for example, you want to use, so a giveaway doesn't specifically have to be a sweepstakes. So say, for example, did you put up the comment from Penelope, the last one?
Let's see. Penelope was saying the contacts comment.
Yeah.
So on my contacts page, I considered doing something like Linktree, and then I decided just to have people sign up for my newsletter.
So I didn't put it in here, but I use BookFunnel. I pay for BookFunnel. And on Contest Queen, I have people, if you sign up for my newsletter, I give you what I call a free sweepstakes starter kit. And it's a 10-page little booklet. Actually, it's 12 because the cover and the back page. But 10 tips to get started winning sweepstakes. But if you're a cozy romance author, maybe you want to do a little 10-page booklet that's a prequel to the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey,
that's a really popular strategy, especially for
right.
email campaigns and email newsletters, is you want to offer your potential newsletter list a free tool that gives them some type of value.
Right. And I don't have that on Words for Winning yet because I still haven't figured it out.
But yet being the key word, right? It's a process.
I haven't figured it out, but believe it or not, I have
you and all three of your
people
businesses
that signed up with nothing. So one of these days when I do have a freebie, I will just email everybody and say, thank you for pre-supporting me before I figured it out. Which you can also do. Like I said, I have it on Contest Queen. I don't have it on Words for Winning. Did it stop me from putting up the sign up thing on my homepage? No, because I'm not there yet, but it doesn't matter. And 400 people have signed up. So you never know. And then you can give stuff away. Now I'll tell you, you don't have to spend a lot of money giving stuff away. I'll give an example. When I was moving into this house, I was cleaning out my office, and I have talked about that I'm going to the annual National Sweepstakes Convention. Well, you get a lot of stuff and swag. I had boxes of it. I'm like, I don't want to move stuff. I literally took it all out, pulled out what I wanted to keep, took everything that was superfluous, whatever. And I said it wrong. Don't come at me. And I know what I mean in my head. That's all that matters. And then
a true writer.
I made 5 piles of stuff that was all kind of even.
Okay.
And I took pictures of them. And every day on Instagram, I gave a pile away. It literally just cost me the envelope and the shipping to mail a pack of stuff, like all lucky stuff, because at the convention. So there was like buttons with 4-leaf clovers, and there was like scarves with like leprechauns on them, and like I had all kinds of stuff. I had buttons and pins. I had the little ducks. I had necklaces. I had like just strange. I'm like, I don't need any of this, because guess what? When I attend next year, I'm going to get more stuff. So I mailed it all away. It was literally free from my house. You can give away. I comb thrift stores for books, and do I have it here? No, it's somewhere else. It's I gave away The Luck Factor by Richard Wiseman, and then whenever I find a used copy, I buy them and I use them as giveaways. So it cost me like what from the thrift store, somewhere between $0.25 and $1. And then I mail it. So whatever the postage is, like $4, like that's an inexpensive giveaway. And it's not my book, but it's tied to what I do. So say, for example, you do cozy romance, but you personally have a favorite author and you find that book at the thrift store. You're like, oh my God, this is my favorite author. I'm going to give this away. This is, you can say, this is the book that inspired me and why I wanted to become an author. And this is my favorite romance book. I'm going to give it away. Like, you don't have to spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars to give something away. I found like some stuff I'm actually giving away at the convention. It's sitting on my desk because we have to glue the corks in because they're not glued. But I give away at the conventions, I give away lucky fairy dust.
Ooh, lucky fairy dust?
Yeah, what? I found these fairy dust necklaces. I usually make them myself.
I just want to pull that up.
I make them myself usually. And
that is so cool.
These cost like, I don't know, $2.50. But I have to glue the corks in because they didn't glue the corks in. Like, are you kidding me? That's going to go flying if I don't glue it in. But
I would totally think that you like wrote like a fantasy book about like fairies.
Right. And you could give those away. Cool. Like I ordered 20 of them to give away at the convention because fairy dust, I have a little saying I made and I give it away. So it doesn't have to be, you have to get a little creative when you're doing giveaways on a budget. Like I think these cost me $2.50 each. Then you'd have to have like a little box to ship it in because it would break. This is actually glass. But you could get little boxes at the dollar store. It wouldn't cost a lot. And then, of course, it's your business. Get a receipt for everything. Get in the habit of asking always for a receipt. Every receipt. And that way you don't forget the important ones. Okay, let's talk about the next one.
Okay.
Now, these are actually my marketing ones that I left in because even though I wrote these for a marketing presentation that I gave, the points still hold true. Like, nobody runs a sweepstakes because they're feeling generous. You have to decide why you want the giveaway. Like, are you doing it just to bring attention to your new product launch, your new book launch? Are you trying to increase sales on something you've already published? Do you want to keep people following you? You know, now the last two aren't really applicable to artists, but and authors. I wanted them to see, you know, it's the same thing and only have one purpose. You don't want to muddle the message.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, go to the next one. And the next one's also a business one that I left in because it doesn't change. Guess what? Because now you're an author, you're a business person. I know you don't want to hear that.
That's the truth.
I know you don't want to hear that, but that's true.
That is the truth. Yep.
So here's the 5 different ways people can enter. They can enter in person, on the phone, mail in, online, and text messaging. Now, the ones that are going to apply to authors are in person and online. Because let's face it, we're not having phone in, radio ads. You're not doing text contests. Those are expensive. And we're way past mail-ins. But in person, the reason I say in person is there's events. You might be at, there's these author trade shows that some people sign up for. There's you could get a table somewhere at some, you could be doing a speaking gig, something. So I would set out, a fishbowl with forms to fill out to be entered in to win an autographed copy of your book, or if you're doing an in-person event of some kind, a book signing, you buy a table at the church bazaar to be out there, and wherever you are, if you're in person, always have a giveaway, the old-fashioned kind, so that you can get names and you get those people to agree to be on your mailing list. So when I used to have a table, if I get a table, depends on the location. If I get a table at the sweepstakes convention, I always do one giveaway that has their name and their email, and they can get a free book, and they agree right on the form that they're going to be added to my email list. So then I come home and I manually put them all into MailChimp because I've got them to agree to it. And some people are already on there. So because I've been so many times, so I have a second button that says already on your list. Then I don't punch them in because there's no point.
Yeah.
But I get them to pre-agree. So in-person is available. So think of that. If you do any in-person events, make sure you have a giveaway as part of the plan of being there with a banner and your book and all that.
I like that.
The last one is the social. So where are you going to put the giveaway? And then where are you going to promote the giveaway? So say you're going to have an Instagram giveaway, but you're going to want to put promotions on your homepage to the website, and you're going to share it on Facebook, and you're going to put it on your stories on Instagram, and you're going to maybe make a TikTok about it. Hey, go over here and enter, kind of thing. So you're going to, drive the traffic to there. So, but I wanted people aware of there are 5 methods, but you're probably only going to use 2 as an author.
Yeah, that totally makes sense, especially in this day and age.
Yeah. Next. So there's types. I just talked about them, but the last one I didn't talk about was the author services giveaway. If you're lazy with a bit of a budget. So one way, or actually we'll talk about the top one, the exclusive giveaways. If you want to keep people on your list, have a monthly exclusive giveaway to keep people on the list, but you can only win if you're on the email list. So you could send out an email with an entry page, and you will double check to see if they're on your thing. You can use like a Gleam or a Rafflecopter for that, and have like a hidden page, or you can just draw from your subscribers and give something away. And you can use random.org for that. Like I remember when I got a job at I don't know, it was like 15 years ago. I was so excited. I got a job at an ad agency I was a contest manager, and I was so excited. So I'm like, oh my God, now I get to go see behind the scenes and see what sophisticated software they use to make all these drawings and things. And random.org. They put everything in a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet, and random.org. That's the big system the companies use.
What type of are there any types of like items or things you suggest giving away for that type of email?
Well, same thing. It could be, you could always give away your book. You could always give away, things that you love. Like, and sometimes you can always just give away, hey, every month I'm going to give away a $25 Amazon gift card. So you can buy any book you love besides me, because we know you always love me. Right? Like you can make it funny. Like, right?
Yeah,
like, I know I'm not the only person you read. I know I'm going to get cheated on, but here's a $25 Amazon gift card. Go buy another book that you love, right? Like you can play it up and have fun with it.
It almost makes me think that this would be a good opportunity to collaborate with other authors who are probably in the same genre.
Yeah, you can do that too. I didn't write that down. Again, this was supposed to be a 15-minute presentation. We're way over. So author giveaways, like I said, you can put me in front of a crowd of 1,000 people and I can just talk for an hour. Author giveaways.
Well, you're sharing so much valuable information. I feel like I'm learning like an incredible amount here. I feel like I need to start a giveaway tomorrow.
Well, what's easy is Bookreads, BookBub, and Bookthrone, especially Bookthrone. They all do giveaways. So Goodreads, for an author, I think it's $119. And if you want the premium one, it's $500 and something. And they run the giveaway for you. And there's gazillions of people on Goodreads. I need to do a Goodreads one. I've done them in the past. I haven't done it in forever. I was looking at it today because I was like putting together the presentation. And I'm like, why haven't I done one of these in a while? However, BookPub, BookBub, and then Bookthrone. Bookthrone has a ton. And while I was looking for this, I noticed, because it must be new or I haven't checked in a while, they started doing audio book giveaways. And I'm like, oh, that's cheap. So I have 3 audiobooks. So I bought 3 spots and then I did 3 links and it cost me $90. I'm like, that's a deal. And it starts on August 20th. And I put my blurb and I put my thing and I send them off and we'll see what happens. Now it could work. It might not work, but for $90, that is cheap marketing.
Yeah, that seems really effective, actually.
It's very value driven. So if you don't want to run it and you have a little bit of money, then you can do something like Bookthrone or BookBub or even Goodreads if your budget's even bigger. Yeah. I might try the Goodreads one for the one I accidentally published today.
Yeah, I feel like I'm probably going to check out Goodreads for mine. I'm like very interested, but I'm just not familiar with giveaways at all. But I'm
go and enter some of their giveaways first.
Okay.
Just to see what it's like.
See what it feels like to be part of the giveaway. Okay.
Yeah. That's the other thing. If you want to do some things, go find other authors that are hosting giveaways or even just enter regular giveaways just to get a feel of what it's like. So when you're creating one, you know what to look for, what you liked, what you didn't like. Oh, I don't like how they said that. Okay. I'm going to make sure I fix it. I'm going to,
Yeah, I think that's great because it's part of the research, right? So researching for what works well in your genre or industry and then bringing that back into yourself.
Right. Okay. Let's go on.
All right. Perfect.
Okay. Now this is my number one. Like I said at the beginning, if you're going to enter sweepstakes, my number one tip is always read the rules. But guess what? It's the same for marketers. You have to make sure your rules are locked down. And you don't have to pay a lawyer. Now, if you go and enter a big sweepstakes by, say, a Fortune 500 company, they're going to have rules written by corporate lawyers and promotional lawyers that are locked down, that are airtight, that can be used in a court of law, because rules are a legal and binding contract between the entrant and the sponsor that can be upheld in a court of law. And of course, they're always written in favor of the sponsor because that's who's paying.
Yep. Who's paying the money
for the money. So, but I run little Instagram giveaways all the time. So as long as you have certain things in there, like if you go to my, every time I do a live stream, like a sweepstakes Q&A, I give away a book. I have very simple rules. Who's eligible to enter? I say it's open worldwide because I don't mind mailing a book anywhere. How often can someone enter? And I say every comment. Now I started using Rafflecopter because you can't do a live drawing from YouTube chat. So I started putting a link to a page where people just go enter. So how often? Well, whatever the options are in the thing. I usually give a bunch of different things. How many people in a household can enter? It's usually 1 per person. So And the start and end dates, like it starts when I run the live stream, but I usually give people a week to watch on the replay and then go enter. But I say right there, it ends on July 31st or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And any other specific rules, like, for example, if you find a giveaway on TikTok, like I entered one like a month ago that I had to make a little video.
Mm-hmm.
I did not win. I thought I would actually.
They're like,
but it's fun to try.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very simple. Like you don't need a lot. And then you always have to put the clause based on the platform it's on. Like Facebook isn't responsible for this. Like if you go in the promotions
Mm-hmm.
section of any of the platforms, they have a clause they want you to add to the bottom of every giveaway. And if you enter giveaways, you'll see that everybody uses that same clause because that's a requirement.
That
so
totally
just
makes
make
sense.
sure, and the rules you don't have to pay a lawyer. They just have to be simple and clear. It's not rocket science. Next. And then like I said, it doesn't have to be expensive. I kind of talked over this one. There's lots of, you can get swag. I have a store. I use Teespring, now just Spring, and I have swag. I'm not wearing any of my swag today. But like I said, the other thing is I just started buying stuff on Alibaba in bulk. I bought some stainless steel bracelets with 4-leaf clovers to give away at the convention. They're already in the prize pack, so I can't show them.
It kind of seems like it comes down to being kind of a combination of being clever or being creative with something that's really cheap that you can get a certain quantity of.
Right. Like there's so much stuff on all those platforms. Like depending on your genre, you can pick so many things. Like I was clearly only looking for anything fairy related, because the fairies are lucky. They bring you wishes. Like I have my little saying, and it's like, hold the bottle and close your eyes. Ask the fairies to materialize. Ask them for a prize that's dear. And watch your winnings begin to appear.
Oh,
that's what I said.
I love the
right. I made a little thing, right? So that's why I give these away at the conventions, because it ties into what I like. And I actually can't even say I had the idea, because I received, is it still here? Did I put it in I used to keep it here. Yeah, it's here. So this, I got this at a convention years ago. If you want to just zoom in on that. It's a little bottle with, looks like snow, and it was Affy dust. And it says, Affy dust sprinkled all over my mail. Bring me a grand prize, please, without fail. So I'm like, oh, but nobody mails in anymore. And I'm like, I got to change this. So I came up with the fairy dust idea. And I came up with the thing with bringing me the prize. But I can't say it wasn't my idea. And I still have no idea to this day where I got this. Who gave it to me?
That's absolutely incredible. I love that. That's clever.
Right. You can get t-shirts printed up inexpensively. Like if you do one color t-shirts, you can go somewhere and have them printed. You can have them with you and just mail them out. Like I said, companion items. So I would consider this a companion item. Like, you know what I mean? Like akin to, something. If you do cozy mysteries, you could do like a tea basket, a nice mug, some tea, a little jar of honey with a thing, like you could, depending on where you are, like if you're at a trade show or something, you could have a basket because you're going to give it away at the end. You don't have to mail it.
Yeah. I feel like I kind of look at it as like whatever the genre or whatever the style is of either your brand or the book, whatever things I give away, how is it going to make the people receiving the gifts think about either the theme behind your book, a character, an idea, a concept, something that they think of it and like, oh yeah, now I'm going to think about that every single time. And I think that's kind of like the psychology I would think of behind it.
You know what? Put up TC's comment.
Yes. So WTC just said, I use King Sumo for my giveaways because I can add things for them to do for extra chances to win.
Right. So Rafflecopter and Gleam do that too. But the reason King Sumo is good is because a lot of people subscribe to King Sumo. And when you subscribe, you get the giveaway widget for free. Believe it or not, though, a lot of people in the sweepstakes community are wary of King Sumo. And they feel like they use all the email addresses or something. I don't know. it's not true, because I messaged them one day saying, hey, can I get a list of all the people that really love to win giveaways that you get? And they go, oh, we don't have that, but if you ever get one, let us know. And I'm like, oh no.
That's great. Very reputable.
But sweepers tend to, like, if you're doing a bigger one, they, for some reason, they don't like King Sumo. It's kind of a discussion point, which is really interesting. I should do a whole video on that. Okay, next one. And then, yeah, and it's a marketing tool. Now, the last stat, and I think it's much higher than this now, was 55 million Americans enter annually. So it is a great marketing tool. But again, it's a marketing tool in your marketing plan. So you have to have a whole plan. You just can't just randomly run giveaways. Like, the problem is, in December, every company and their brother hosts giveaways. Like, giveaways exponentially explode in December. And sometimes you look at the giveaways, like some companies do it every year. So you're like, oh, this is their annual event. But some companies see all this online busyness and think, oh, we got to jump in the bandwagon. And then, you know, you can tell that this was hastily thrown together and this is not going to work. You know, you're just getting lost in the buzz, and you have to have a reason to have a giveaway. You know, don't have a giveaway for the sake of having a giveaway. Say, I want to increase my Instagram subscribers or followers by 100. That's why I'm going to host this on Instagram. I want to get 50 new email subscribers. So that's why I'm going to host this giveaway. I want to have, like, you know what I mean? I'm launching a new book, so I want a lot of awareness. But to increase that awareness, I'm going to host a giveaway.
It sounds like the giveaway is a part of like the marketing strategy in the overall awareness of it.
Right. So don't just host a giveaway willy-nilly. There's no willy-nillying. It's got to be part of the plan. Right? It's got to be part of the plan. Okay, I think that's basically it. And then it's like, you can go check me out. Like, if you want to see my author website that I finally built last year, which, by the way, still isn't finished. But again, that's a good point. I created Words for Winning. It's not 100% done. It's a work in progress. But I'm not going to not have a website because it's not done yet. I need somewhere for people to go. So it's not perfect. So what? It's going to keep growing. It's web. It changes. It can change daily. So it doesn't matter. Just go. Just do it.
If you want to know more about Carolyn and the books, especially maybe the 10th book that was published today,
or any of the other things, the page up on the website yet either.
Go check out that website link. The website links are also down in the description below if you're here on YouTube.
Yeah, and then you can get a surprise for Money and You that just was accidentally published today. So Instant Money. So the reason it was being held off was because Instant Money is a companion audio series to the book. So Tag Powell, he has passed. But I met him before he passed away. And what he used to do is he used to give these seminars, Money and You, and he was selling his book. And then people kind of wanted to take the seminar home with him. So he created these seminars. And you got to remember, he was doing this in the 80s. Like, this is the day people used to get tickets and go to something, and then they would have a big table at the back, and they'd go and they'd buy like stuff, right? And so he had he created books of his seminar, and he created some like mini audio series. Actually, I'll show you the one. It's so kitschy, right? Like, look at this. Okay, this is the original Instant Money. And it was
I like that.
For $14.95. It can be yours today. Oh, the book. I had the book out because I had to scan it for the I had to have the book out. I scanned it so that the new PDF that you get with it is all updated. But then at the end, I put all the original pages in so you could see what it was like back in the day. So you have the old and the new. It's kind of cool. So you'd open it up and you had a cassette tape. Does your car have a cassette in it? You can listen while you drive. And then don't forget, these are your alphamatics, where you say these expressions like, I've always had more than I need. Some of them are good. Right? He has and he tells you how to use them. Oh, and you can write to him for more, but he's passed, so don't write to him. and daily use of alphamatics. So he tells you how to use them on little cards, and they're not every day. I become more successful in my money dealings. And look how this is. These aren't even, I don't know if you can see it on air, but they're not even. There just looks like he took like a
interesting, like a paper cutter. Yeah.
Like, he took a paper cutter, like he had them all printed on one sheet and then used a paper cutter.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's really clever.
Like,
I think it comes
cool
down to how do you
right?
get clever about whatever you give away to people.
So I got all 6 editions of this, and I put the audio series. So there's 6. I had them digitized. I have 6 tracks. And so I have the years like 1982, then 85 and 93. And then I redid the book, and then I put all the original books. So you have everything, and you have the cards you can cut out yourself and everything. And so, but I've got in the book, hey, if you'd like the sister product, like Tag used to sell this, go to this like bit.ly link. But of course, I don't want to publish the book until the bit.ly link, the companion product is up and live on my website. Well, I found a mistake on the cover because for some reason we forgot to put 2nd edition on it. I don't know how we forgot that, but I said, oh my God, it doesn't say 2nd edition. So he went and he fixed it, and I was re-uploading all the files, and instead of hitting save draft, I hit publish, and I went, oh. I'm messaging my webmaster, my graphics guy, and I'm like, I just published a book today. How close are we to having the audio files up on the website?
Clearly your webmaster is having a very fun day.
And I'm like, yeah, well, if people go and it's not there, I'll get a DM somewhere and I'll say, yeah, well, it's coming. I think the holding page is there. We'll fix it. It'll be done. It'll be fine. But you can't go through life panicking. Like, I'm just laughing at it because it's just the funniest thing. Like, what am I going to do? Cry?
Right.
There's no point in that.
I think going throughout like an author journey, I think we have to learn how to deal with the highs, the lows, the craziness, and the unexpected. And I just want to say, Carolyn, I feel like
it's my fault too. Like, I can't even blame anybody else.
That's totally what happens, right? We're only human. We all make mistakes.
You know what? But you know what? I learned to, like, maybe it's because I'm 57. And I've gone through so many things in my life, like up and down and round the bend. And now it's kind of like, I don't care. Like, oh, well, it'll all work out. Like, it'll always all work out. And I think also maybe part of it is me dealing with all of Helene stuff. Like, it'll all work out. Like, it'll always all work out. Like, if that's the worst thing that happened today is that I published a book.
The worst thing is that I published a book. I was like, there's not very many writers who would be like, that's a bad thing.
Right. And it makes for a heck of a funny story. Right? Like, I definitely have a TikTok. I definitely have a reel. I definitely have a short. You know? Here's what happens when you accidentally hit publish.
Well, Carolyn, I just want to say, like, the conversation's been absolutely incredible today. I feel like we've learned so much. As we wrap up the podcast, I know we went a little over time, but you have delivered so much value. So one of the last things that I always do to end off a podcast is I always end off with one final question.
Okay.
If tomorrow was your last chapter in the book of life, and you got hit by a car, and you could leave one original quote or one message for all the writers of the world, what would it be?
You know what? I'm going to give you the best writing advice I ever got. Write out the table of contents and keep writing.
Write out the table of contents and keep writing.
That was the best advice I ever got. And the and side note, now this is for nonfiction. You can't do this with fiction. I wrote the easiest chapters first. So by the time I got to the hard chapters, I had like half a book done. Well, I'm not stopping now. Now, like I said, it's fiction. You can't do that because you got to have an arc. Like, you have to write the story in order. You can't write the last chapter and then come back. It's not going to work. But for nonfiction, you can do that. And I know you have all kinds of writers listening, so but it works the same for fiction, because they need to know the arc so they can write out the table of contents, and then they can just keep writing.
I find that there in the writing community, there tends to be two types of writers. We have the plotters and then the pantsers. Pantsers just start writing because they're writing off the seat of their pants. And then the plotters plan everything out beforehand. I think there's strategies where writers can write like the last chapter.
That's still the table of contents. Like if you're plotting, you're going to still write out the table of contents. Like, oh, first we're going to start out here and we're going to go here and we're going to go here. I don't know. Do nonfiction writers actually name chapters? Some do, some don't.
I think it depends. I think naming chapters, I'm personally a fan of chapter names, but I think chapter names isn't specific to nonfiction or fiction. I think if you use it with intention, it's essentially a chapter title is a hook or a foreshadowing device for the chapter itself that can tell the reader more.
Because in this nonfiction that Helene wrote, she has all the chapters titled, right? Like, of course, like they all have a title. I guess you're right. It depends.
I like to personally use chapter titles for my books, but I think like in the fantasy genre, it tends to be like 75% name titles and then 25% non. There's no right or wrong way. It's based off whatever story you're trying to tell.
Yeah, I'm WTCI. I'm a plantster. I love that.
Well, that's the mix of the plotter and the pantser.
Yeah.
Well, Carolyn, it has been an absolute pleasure today. I feel like we've achieved so much, and we brought so much value to our audience here. If anybody wants to find out more about you, once again, where can they find you?
Wordsforwinning.com. Because that's where I have all my righty stuff.
Well, thank you so much, Carolyn. And that's all that I got for you. So I'm going to wrap up the show. Thank you again for joining me.
Oh my God, this was so fun. I just love it. I hope that so many people have successful promotions. And you know what? If anybody gets stuck, just message me. I'm happy to help. Because all boats rise with the tide.
Yeah, and if you want to reach out to Carolyn, once again, all 3 website links are down in the YouTube video description below, but specifically wordsforwinning.com. Words for Winning. If you want to reach out to Carolyn, we connected over Threads, but like we're on all the social media platforms. So I just wanted to say, wrapping up, like, thank you all for joining us today. Thank you for joining in this dynamic discussion. Definitely a little longer on the timing, but I really want to thank you. I appreciate you for commenting, for asking questions, and for being involved in the discussion. I know I learned so much about book marketing and giveaways and sweepstakes. I feel like I now need to go enter sweepstakes like yesterday. So I definitely learned quite a lot. And once again, if you found value out of the stream, follow and subscribe. I'm a daily writing live streamer, and here on the Right Now community, we do writing streams every single day, 209 writing streams, consecutive and counting. So come join the community and have fun. If you're looking for something to watch next, down the YouTube description is one of our previous episodes about mental health. It's an incredible conversation if you still want to check out some more writing content. And most importantly, don't forget, tap that like button. Let us know that you enjoyed it and help us show the algorithms that writing streams are cool. Beautiful. And that wraps up the show. It has been a pleasure. I appreciate all you. Don't forget, words are wind, but stories are forever. I'm Kauffman, and I'll catch you on the morrow. Stay creative, writers.